Episode 550. Chen Guo lost again. Then, in the second and third matches, she began to struggle. Excellent Era wasn't a team she liked anymore, yet it still held her favorite player. For a moment, Chen Guo couldn't decide whether she should be hoping for Excellent Era to win or hoping for them to lose. Before, she'd avoided watching Excellent Era's matches, sparing herself this inner turmoil. Now, watching it unfold right before her eyes, she simply didn't know where to place her feelings. Immediately, Chen Guo found the match grating on her nerves, and in the midst of her agitation, Excellent Era lost 2 rounds in a row. Chen Guo immediately found her footing and mercilessly scorned the 2 Excellent Era players who had fought. In the process, she naturally heaped lavish praise on Suma Cheng for taking the first point. The team competition that followed the singles matches featured the usual, predictable lineups. The 2 teams' ace players, Han Wenqing and Sun Sheng, each served as the final gatekeeper. The match kicked off quickly. This time, Excellent Era sent up 2 players in succession, finally denying Chen Guo another chance to look down her nose at them. They performed exceptionally well, each defeating their opponent and doing so with a commanding advantage. In the third match, once he entered the duel with Han Wenqing, he managed to take out nearly half of Desert Dust's health before his own glorious demise. Finally, Sun Sheng took the stage. The duel between these 2 was the main event everyone had been waiting for, but Han Wenqing's Desert Dust was fighting with only half his health. The disadvantage was simply too great. Sun Sheng steadily exploited this advantage, employing a pragmatic and efficient playstyle. In the end, he defeated Han Wenqing, securing victory in the team arena match. But defeating a half-health Han Wenqing gave the Excellent Era fans none of the satisfaction of revenge. In their eyes, Sun Sheng had only done what was expected of him. To truly vent their pent-up frustration, he would have needed to defeat a full-health Han Wenqing while he himself was at half-health. And so, all their hopes rested on the final team battle. After the first 2 rounds, Tyranny had 2 points, while Excellent Era had 3. Yet, Excellent Era's fans weren't exactly celebrating. For Excellent Era at this point, points were practically meaningless. More points wouldn't get them into the playoffs, and fewer points wouldn't sink them to the bottom 2 and get them eliminated. What Excellent Era's fans wanted to see was a truly epic match, a match full of spirit. They didn't necessarily have to beat Tyranny, but they had to give them trouble, they had to make them sweat. For Excellent Era, who had no hope left for their standings, their fans had entered a state where they only enjoyed the process and didn't much care about the result. The break before the team competition was always a long one. Commentator Pan Lin and guest Li Yibo chatted about this very topic. As seasoned industry insiders, they had a crystal-clear view of the 2 teams' current predicaments. The happy internet cafe was buzzing with chatter again, that old atmosphere from when Excellent Era matches were broadcast live making a bit of a comeback. To be honest, Chen Guo really missed this kind of vibe. Seeing the customers so unanimously united in their support for Excellent Era, Chen Guo couldn't help but show a look of nostalgia for that feeling. After the 20-minute break, the team competition finally began. Both sides entered the match field with the lineups they had honed to perfection throughout the league season. The happy internet cafe erupted into cheers, roaring their support for Team Excellent Era. But no one could have predicted that this team battle would, from start to finish, pour cold water all over the Excellent Era fans' enthusiasm. Excellent Era team charged forward, their confidence and fighting spirit palpable to their supporters. Yet, just a few minutes into the clash, any Glory player with a basic understanding could see that Team Excellent Era was already at an absolute disadvantage. This match wasn't decided by fighting spirit, confidence, skill, performance, or even experience. It was decided by tactics. The most eye-catching person in this match was, of course, none other than Tyranny Team's Zhang Xinjie. The thing about tactics, though, is that they're not exactly flashy. They're not like a brilliant play, something that unfolds right before the audience's eyes in a couple of seconds and instantly gets their blood pumping. Tactics are far more subtle. They're like a novel full of setup, starting off slow and dull. But when the laid plans start bearing fruit, That's when the tactical climax begins. It's only when the attacks start landing one after another that the audience can truly appreciate the purpose behind those seemingly dull and tedious opening moments. That's how this match went. The first few minutes looked like just some ordinary skirmishing, but after weathering that initial phase, Tyranny began to consistently gain the upper hand. The commentators and analysts had been dissecting both teams' strategies from the very start. By this point, they'd woven the opening minutes of combat into a comprehensive breakdown of the entire tactical landscape.
Now this is the good stuff.
Yi Shu was also praising it.
Yeah, definitely.
Chen Guo nodded. Having completely shed her identity as an Excellent Era fan, she was nothing like the other dejected supporters in the internet cafe. Chen Guo was also watching the match objectively, appreciating Zhang Xinjie's tactical layout.
A lone wolf like Sun Shang is exactly the type to get tripped up by a mature, well-prepared and targeted strategy. Forget about Tyranny, whose strength was never inferior to Excellent Eras. Even a team like Thunderclap could probably handle the current Excellent Era with ease.
Because they have Xiao Shiqin?
Shen Guo, of course, was well aware of the formidable reputation of this man, one of the 4 great tactical masters.
That's right.
What about Excellent Era now? Do they still have anyone good at tactics?
On that question, no one in the entire alliance could give a more authoritative answer than Yi Shu. After a few seconds of silence, Ye Shu finally shook his head slowly.
Serves you right.
Chen Guo didn't mince words. Excellent Era had once possessed a tactical master of their own. Ye Shu was one of the 4 great tactical masters. And after Excellent Era forced Ye Shu out, they were left with all these problems. For Chen Guo, who already disliked the team, it was nothing short of satisfying.
Excellent Era's done for this season.
With Yi Shu's final commentary, the team battle between Tyranny and Excellent Era concluded in Tyranny's victory. On paper, with Tyranny down to its last 2 players, their victory still looked like a pretty brutal one. But anyone who watched the whole match would know. It was brutal, sure, but it was a brutality they had in the bag. In team battles, since the score isn't affected by how many players survive, sometimes the most direct and effective method is simply to trade lives and end the match cleanly.